I'm all for customizing quirky logos, and for the Columbia lady showing a little more leg, but this is just a regular piece of pepperoni pizza. The cheeseburger gets eyes and arms, but you can't even throw a few mushrooms on the pizza slice? Good Get is a great takeoff name of Best Buy. It combines both alliteration, meaning, and exact letter count of each word. But the stop sign has an exceedingly long pole, so my hands are kind of tied here. What kind of donut shop also sells lottery tickets at a school crossing? Oh, hey! I bet you're wondering how this sin got here. Well, let me take you back to a few seconds ago when this movie played the "a few days earlier" card. The trend of starting your movie in medias res is so prevalent and annoying now that I have to sin when even good movies do it. We should all be caught up now. Let's see what happens next.
Behold! Cinema!
This movie is going to make this appear to be a crudely edited together film that a grade schooler might do. But that opening title card, pretending to just be a burger wrapper, has animation effects on the words, meaning this kid learned how to do frame-by-frame animation on a freaking burger wrapper. And while I guess that's possible, if she can do that, why is the rest of the homemade video so lo-fi? This puppet burger spins 360 degrees, but the puppet strings magically untangle just as that spin is completed, so that they are not tangled anymore as the burger continues to dance. And I guess I should spell it out for the puppetry ignorant. If you spin your puppet 360 degrees, all four strings get tangled up into one, and you can't articulate the puppet anymore. It's science. Wait, I guess if she carefully turned the T-Cross controller 360 degrees with both hands, this would be possible, but most people would spin the apparatus here, tangling the wire. She's a grade schooler, so I have to wonder how much puppetry training she's had. I think she'd spin it and tangle the wire. So, after much consternation, the sin stands. Oh, my innards! Has this movie met a fourth grader? These kids would be dying laughing at this movie. The movie wants us to feel sorry for Katie, so they will mock her instead. The movie refuses to show us any of Space Butt's origins.
Hi, would you like to talk to me about dinosaurs?
No matter how small the town, a kid calling everyone to ask about dinosaurs would definitely get this kid a visit from the cops, if not a restraining order. Mr. Mitchell will now set off this trap trying to save his neighbor, even though he never actually bumps the trigger or rope.
I poured everything I had into getting into film school in LA.
Weird, they let almost anyone into film school, so you are overachieving for no reason. Having 23 tabs open when you aren't actively writing on a sin script.
After all these years, I'm finally gonna meet my people.
Is that when the narration will stop? Because I'm beginning to wonder if this entire movie is narrated. There's a trend in recent, mostly Disney animated movies where the pet is funny just because the pet is stupid, like Hey Hey, or Doug, or Pico. I'm not saying dumb animals aren't funny, but they're kind of repetitive. Show literally mentions a YouTube video earlier, but Katie's uploading all her stuff to Pal Video? Also, Katie said she just made this, and it was uploaded on September 19th of 2020. A good 6 months into the global pandemic, and yet there's not a single person in this movie complaining about wearing a mask, or a single person complaining about someone else not wearing a mask. Whatever happened to realism, Hollywood?
Howdy, y'all.
I know,
I'm Mark
but you're
Bowman,
just smearing
founder and CEO of Pal Labs.
Expositional video ads. What if the Mitchells had paid for Pal Video Premium? How would we ever know what was going on then?
Bathed in ghoulish blue light.
You see, it's funny because they're all buried in their phones, paying him no attention, and this is the first time anyone has ever made this joke.
How about we put our phones down and we can make 10 seconds of unobstructed family eye contact?
I mean, you already have a sign above the door that says no screens at the dinner table. So how about you just start enforcing the rules you've already set? Consistency is the foundation of good parenting, Rick.
I just wonder, do you really think you can make a living with this stuff?
Look, this movie is hilarious and creative, but it's also super tropey. At its skeleton, this is pretty much the same as every kid is misunderstood by a parent who thinks that they should do something more practical movie recipe we've seen before, but with a wacky robot apocalypse glaze on it to try and sweeten the experience.
Well, what about that one?
That came with the frame!
Displaying a picture frame before you've put any pictures in it. And of course, this camcorder will be powered up and this tape will be at the exact place in the father-daughter highlight reel to elicit maximum emotional impact, because movies. Now Dad is springing an unwanted family road trip on everyone. And this movie is eventually quite unique and clever, but there's a hell of a lot of tired tropes and jokes in the setup. But also, Mom's dropping the ball here. Last night she nailed it when she told Dad he had to fix things with Katie. Now he's come up with this awful idea that robs Katie of a week of college fun with her new friends, and Mom is digging it. See the big picture, Mom. This Michigan license plate doesn't have the Pure Michigan slogan at the top of it, which has been standard for a while, although the bumper stickers all over the back are certainly Pure Michigan. So the sin, either way, is Ohio.
We called the school, you can miss orientation week. No problem.
Wait, what? I was almost willing to go with this nonsense as typical forced movie plot movement, but you pulled her out of orientation week? That's next level selfishness, and honestly makes me wonder if Rick is even redeemable at this point. I like to imagine that this list of cities and American sights to see on the back of this travel guide was originally intended to include Route 66, but adding the two sixes would have increased the film's budget too much, and they knew that there were many routes through the country, so there probably wasn't a true reason to specify any particular route anyway. Hey honey, wanna go see that route we've been hearing so much about this summer? I read about it in my fancy Nature Today travel guide.
The Rick Mitchell Special, baby!
This asshole. There was nowhere to park this close to the St. Louis Arch. Rick Mitchell probably killed 9 people driving through a crowded park. Also, they are now in St. Louis on the 22nd of September, but did a 7-hour mule trip through a grand-looking canyon the day before on the 21st. And is this supposed to be Niagara Falls? They are taking quite the route to California.
Wait, they're private emails? That's a dangerous overreach of corporate power.
Tech CEO is a mustache-twirling villain who trades people's privacy for a fatter bottom-line truth. I mean, truth. Sorry. I'm trying to say cliche, but it keeps coming out weird.
The world's first smart personal assistant.
This movie was made long after smart personal assistants were a thing. I love how in movies technology is like, well, we've got robots now, so I guess anti-gravity rays would also be a thing, right? Why is this drinking fountain continuously running? It clearly has a push button on the front that no one is currently pushing. This is a ghost fountain, and it will now haunt my nightmares.
I need to speak to the manager. Ah! These dinosaurs are inaccurate.
Aaron would be excellent at roadside tourist trap sins.
You're not even trying.
Does the filter also somehow mute real life? Pure magicians working over there at Snapchat, huh?
The posies?
Yep, not only are your neighbors somehow in the same area as you after you've been on a 3-day road trip, they just so happen to stop at the exact same dinosaur-themed cash grab as you. Howard Ratner wouldn't even play those odds if Kevin Garnett was holding a Lucky Dino-themed keychain. Not only do they all survive this, not a single person is shown with a shard of glass sticking out of their cheek. Is a single grotesque flesh wound too much to ask Lord Miller? 3-cent landings! 3-point landings. Maybe I got it right the first time.
Doesn't seem good that they're counting us, right?
U.S. Census conspiracies. Now we're doing the we found the thing that controls a robot on the ground and now we use it to try to defeat the robot but it will go comically thing from The Incredibles. How can a movie be super original and still steal bits and pieces from bunches of other Disney movies?
Maybe this would be less horrifying with the cat filter.
This movie is hilarious, but I have to ask, if she's producing this documentary, where the hell is she getting all these shots from? In case you confused it with Paris Hilton, Tokyo Drift, or San Francisco, California. Wait.
Unless, of course, you can give me a single reason your species is worth saving.
Movie attempts the Noah story with a technology spin, but refuses to do the part where Noah is discovered by his sons naked and drunk after the flood, and Ham throws the pics up on Insta. Where's Aronofsky when you need him? There have been a couple of times when I have almost sinned this movie for having PAL create so much infrastructure and so quickly. But the truth is, when/if the singularity happens, we will not be ready for how fast AI changes the entire structure of the world around us. So, since this actually feels about right, I'll just tag another single sin on my sense of doom from the inevitable singularity. Somehow, the Mitchells are the very last people on Earth left uncaptured by the robots, because they hid in a freezer, and the robots overhead scanned and found no human. I guess no other humans tried to hide? Or was the cold the reason the robots couldn't... I can't do this with a straight face. The fact that this movie's protagonists are the only humans left uncaptured is a mathematical impossibility.
And as promised,
Your phones.
I don't care how heavy-duty those boots are, you are not curb-stomping your cellular device into these kinds of pieces in 3 seconds.
How could I forget? My anniversary present.
So he bought them all screwdrivers so they'd be prepared, but he only bought them Robertson head screwdrivers? This family is completely f***ed if they ever encounter a flathead or a Phillips screw. To say nothing of Alan.
First, we use robot parts to disguise ourselves as the enemy.
Diary's position, which is not nearly as gross as I just realized it sounds like it might be. Apparently the robots only do one sweep of any particular place, and then they're done. That's why the Mitchells can have the lights on inside the dino store right now and let Katie climb up to the roof without concern.
Oh my gosh, the robots are defective.
It's true, and specifically in a way that makes them do whatever you say. And not just one of them, both of them in the exact same way. Praise be to the plot gods!
Glad those robots are gone.
Eric and Deborah Bot 5000 are so good in this movie, I'm not even going to slap them with a silly sidekick appears for comic relief cliche. Oh, I think now that I've said it, Cindy actually has to sin it. Well, just know I started this sin trying to give a sin off. Promise. These humans are hiding the shame of their nakedness from a non-existent camera instead of the actual neighbors. Cutting your peanut butter sandwich into 4 squares instead of 2 triangles. This comic relief dog drinking trash water should be dead. And I kind of wish he was, from a comedy standpoint. Right, because these highly advanced robots have the ability to do just about everything other than have even halfway decent eyesight. Also, the road will never be a consistent color due to weather and wear and tear, so f*** you guys.
Deborah, get those robots!
This will eventually work, and yet not a single one of the Mitchells thinks to continue having these two help in any meaningful way for the rest of this trip.
Or is it?
Hilarious, but that car's totaled now, and everyone flew through the windshield and died. So this robot gets impaled conveniently, and then these other three just can't track objects in spatial permanence? Why the hell are they giving up right now? Man, they signaled that they'd caught the last human ages ago, but the human delivery pods are taking forever to bring all those souls home.
Hello, and welcome, foolish humans. Hola y bienvenidos, humanos tontos.
This will be the only part of this presentation spoken in both English and Spanish. The Spanish subtitles will continue, but the Palgorithm apparently got bored with that joke real quick. Also, why are these the two languages you chose? If this is a worldwide thing, why wouldn't each person just automatically have a version in their own language? This is literally something computers now could do, let alone this fancy version of an AI world where hexagonal compartment spaceships appear out of thin air.
These rockets will be outfitted with 0 exits.
Actually, you missed a few.
A YouTube comment seen on every single Sins video in the history of time somehow makes it into the script.
Zebulon, scan those people for flaws.
Cowardly. Weaker than a small bird.
It works better if you do them one at a time and make a joke about it and maybe follow it with a ding sound instead of a buzzer. Amateurs. Also, there's some hilarious stuff in here, like says Mario instead of Mario, but there are also a couple of repeats, including 2 showers infrequently sins. Flaws. And 2 sweats too much flaws. And I'm just realizing what a terrible combination that is. The impaled robot saw them driving away at night. How the F did you get this image?
Who would have thought a tech company wouldn't have our best interest at heart?
Katie, you did it!
I know!
Premature celebration! None of this Night of the Living Appliances attack plan makes sense. First, PAL knew they were headed here, so why not just send a few hundred of her robot minions here to take care of business? Second, even if you go with the PAL-chipped appliances as your choice, why did they let them get all the way to the upload of the kill code before casually and dramatically revealing themselves? And finally, if all the appliances can be made sapient by the PAL chip, why not the actual PAL laptop they are uploading the kill code with? Okay, just one last thing. I can see the possibility that the floor models might have been powered up, but is this also suggesting that all the inventory that was still boxed and powered off somehow came alive? Like all these drones, how did they even get out of their packaging?
Why does a tennis racket have a chip?
Better question. Why are you still holding on to it after it started pummeling you in the face? Bullshit. These Furbies all got out here in space perfectly like this with those tiny little waddle feet. Again, I say to you, bullshit. Papa Mitchell fires an arrow basically at his child's head. Why does the giant smart Furby have an actual laser gun in its mouth? Closing your laptop this much and using it as a drone swatter in the middle of an important upload. Also, this laptop was nowhere to be seen in the previous shot. Thank God for the Furby's humor chip. Without it, the Furby might have kept on attacking instead of pausing for comedic effect, using your tractor beam ray on the pulley system instead of the actual threat.
Rick Mitchell, there is a time and a place for looting.
There is not.
Purple glasses woman, why did you save me?
Come on, Eric, you just called her mom in the last scene. This is like when my cousin's kid started calling her Susan all the time out of nowhere, except she wasn't a robot, as far as we knew. Arson! As they drive towards Silicon Valley, I have to ask, why are they using headlights? Are these killbots manifesting out of thin air? I swear to God, I'm adding 1,000 sins if someone even says the word nanobytes or nanotech or nanonut muffins.
It's time to tear the Mitchell family apart.
She seems much too fixated on this family. Her goal is to rid Earth of humanity, and she's completed 99.99999999999% of that goal. This is like getting to the top of Mount Everest, but not feeling like you accomplished anything until you stand on your tippy toes up there. Is that the worst analogy I ever made? I think it might be. You're not a loving movie dad if you don't cover your child with a blanket or coat and rub their hair.
What is that?
Huh? What the?
There's no way that f***ing thing snuck up on them. They should have seen this thing and been bathed in its ghoulish blue light miles ago.
Is that the Posies?
Yes, Linda, that actually is the Posies. In the literally hundreds of millions of people in this ship, you just happen to spot your neighbors at the exact moment they were being placed in the ship, despite them being captured a full 2 days ago. Also, this simple old camcorder and its 50,000 times zoom. These conveniently strolling robots are all the same size. These people are not. This will not matter. Now we're sneaking into the bad guy headquarters disguised as evil robots, and this is the Lego Movie! And yes, I know about Star Wars, shut it.
Bleep blorp, I am a robot.
Just to educate you, that's a hurtful stereotype.
C-3PO woke. I thought PAL sent the black nanobot robots out to find and kill the Mitchells. She even said, I've got a job for you, but it looks like they're just acting as guards. Man, these guys do that an awful lot. Have to feel like constantly repairing the floor is going to add to your overhead. PAL spends the whole movie looking for these fools, and then at the end displays the kind of surveillance ability that should have caught them instantly. They don't just survive this. They don't even have a scratch after it. Like, Rick rubs his neck a little bit, like, golly, that 100-foot fall unsecured in a tube of metal and glass sure did smart a bit, eh? They got out of there? These things are terrible at finding. This camcorder and its ever-ready plot advancement, expositional starting video locations.
How far back do these go?
Typically a few hours worth of footage. In this case, her entire life. This movie cares not the slightest about justifying its conveniences. Not only do Rick and Mark get seated right next to each other, but Mark just happens to be pepping himself up with Katie's movies at that very moment. I mean, if you're just going to convenience that hard, why not just convenience a secondary kill code involving the robots not being able to tell the difference between a dog and a pig? Sorry, that was mean. I know you'd never do something that cheap and easy.
I'm a full-grown cop now. And one day, I hope that you can get to know the cop that I've become. Because I love you, Sarge.
For a goofy YouTube video, this film certainly does take a turn towards very specifically serious and emotional themes that just so happen to be directly related to this moment in the plot, doesn't it? Also, movie within a movie, skip!
How is no one stopping her?
Pal would be evil at CinemaSins.
I'm sorry about causing the whole machine uprising. It's almost like stealing people's data and giving it to a hyper-intelligent AI as part of an unregulated tech monopoly was a bad thing.
Movie takes the absolutely real danger with folks like Zuckerberg and turns it into a punchline from an aloof coding doofus. Why is there a convenient ledge running along some of these prison cubes? It's pretty convenient.
www. dot.
There isn't a sigh loud enough for this old person doesn't know how to use the internet cliche. Rick was probably like 15 when the internet started its infancy. He's probably more familiar with what a www dot is than most of Gen Z. To a point I can go with him not understanding tech, but this is a dot too far. Mama Mitchell, going full berserker, kicks this movie into an entirely new level of bonkers where logic is discarded and reality is obliterated. And somehow, I think I love it. Is there a line that movies can advance past where sins and dings reverse? Has Mitchells versus the Machines discovered the fabled lost city of Nits? Movie will now act as though the average American dad doesn't know what no and see mean in English, even though one of them is literally still no in English.
And sometimes you have to eat disgusting cupcakes shaped like your own face.
You mean disgusting cupcakes with your face painted on icing, because those cupcakes are decidedly shaped like, cupcakes.
I saw your movie. I should have watched it a lot sooner.
We do not have time for this! Where earlier Mom defeated the robots with love, now Dad and daughter will defeat the robots with love and some singing. It's almost like there was no real threat all along. Not spreading your PB or J to the edges of the bread. Here's the thing though, PAL was software. The single phone kind of represented her, but PAL has clearly been described as a smart personal assistant, so destroying this one phone won't kill her. She's basically f***ing Ultron, man. This can't be how they kill her. The population of the greater North American continent survives this.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, kid.
Are we seriously going to try and pull a few emotions out of pretending that Katie might be dead or injured after all that? Yes, I know, she's faking to pull another face-licking prank, but wait a second. She's faking dying to prank her parents?
Wish we didn't have to go, but...
Oh, I'm good with going, so one final skip. Man, I bet if you have kids you've recently dropped off for their first year of college, this part here probably gives you all the feels and makes you cry. Suckers. I didn't realize this was based on a true story. You'd think I'd have heard something about this. Making the baby of the family the ugly dog certainly was a choice, though.
The Wagon Queen family truckster. You think you hate it now, but wait till you drive it.
We going to talk about it?
What?
The elephant in the room.
What elephant?
I guess not then.
Dishes are done, man.
What the hell is that?
Kevin, that's a 2015 Tartan Prancer.
These are not 3 separate devices. This is one device. And we are calling it iPhone.
I was the most important thing in your life, and you threw me away.
Did you just look at me? Did you? Look at me! Look at me! How dare you! Close your eyes!
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
Everything will be fine, because I have a plan.
The damn tides of time and the winds of dust are upon us. My reign is nigh.
Would you like a soda? You look great, by the way. Very healthy.
You gotta say I love you back.